Hey, drop. Yeah, hey, drop.
Welcome to another episode of the Audible. It's your man, God of Dots, back with another show. Hope everybody's had a good week. Hey, man, it's Friday. Yes, it has been a good week for me. I hope it's been a good week for you. Thank you for everybody who has taken the time to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. You know, thumbs up, thumbs down. Still appreciate. How you doing, Miss Murphy? Yeah, Miss Murphy had to step away for a second. You know, got to come over here and do this show. Then prepping for the other show in that realm. But we're gonna stay focused. We're gonna stay on task. It shouldn't be too hard. We're gonna talk about Game 4 tonight. Tip off is in about 30 minutes. I will be catching hopefully the good first half of the show and first half of the game, and then maybe probably I ain't gonna say maybe, I'll probably have to catch it on replay. Stay tuned for stuff coming out as far as content, as far as the game. Like I said, moving forward, once the finals is over, and finals might be over by this time next week, so we'll be rolling out the NFL content. I already started kind of working on that. But once again, it's Friday, man. Hope everybody's had a good day. I want to answer a question that was posed, and I've been seeing this. Somebody left a comment on one of my videos. What's going on, Gator Girl? I need them to go on and run that bet like they did in Game 4. We're gonna talk about it. Some news kind of came out from the NBA. But I want to kind of get, that's why you see it's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Somebody left me a comment on one of my shorts. And the question they asked was like, guy put MVP over, the short in regards to Yoke. And, the question was, do you think, Embiid, given the same personnel, same staff that Jokic has in Denver, do you think he would have the same level of success? And I didn't want to really answer. I mean, because when you think about it, you have two guys. The only thing that are real similar about them as far as like how they play is the fact that they're centers. Their games are completely different. Gator Girl says, Joker's way better than Embiid. I would say this, and not to take anything away from Embiid, he deserved to win MVP this year for the year that he had. I wouldn't have been upset if Joker would have got it. I don't think Denver has the same level of success with Embiid over. And if you take Joke out and put Embiid, I don't think they have the same level of success. And here's why. Joke's game is predicated on making life easier for the others. And what I mean by that, not because of his scoring presence. It's not necessarily, hey, give me the ball on the block, clear out. Like I said, Yoke doesn't play the traditional center type role. He has those back to the basket moves. He can go left, he can go right. But his game is really predicated on creating and making life easier for the others. When you watch Embiid play, and Embiid is, and not to say that he doesn't pass. I don't want to, that to be said, but when Embiid gets the ball, it's kind of like a black hole. The ball may or may not be coming back out once you give it to him. He's not really looking to make life easier for his teammates. Now, his presence on the court, his presence on the court makes things a little bit easier, but not in the same fashion as Joke. Joke is looking to set guys up. Like Yoke is happy with shooting 10, maybe 15 times a game. He's happy with hitting the boards. He's happy with creating the assists because that makes life easier for get other guys going. It's a team effort. It's not a one-man show. I know so much of the focus is on Yoke because of the numbers he's putting up and the impact he's having on the game, but it's not a one-man show. It's not a one-man show. You saw that in game 2 when they lost to Miami. It was just a one-man show. Jamal Murray wasn't along for the ride. The rest of the others weren't along for the ride, and it's a loss. When he's able to make life easier for guys, get guys set up, get guys in position to be effective with scoring, makes life easier for them to score and contribute to the game. It's just too, like I said, I don't think you put Embiid on Denver, they make it to the finals. And that's not a slight on Embiid. It's just his game is completely different from Yoke's. Defensively, if I was to nitpick at the game, he's a much better defender, way better defender than Yoke. But I think Yoke has more impact on the offensive end just for the simple fact, I can score. I can go out there if need be, get 30. I can go out there, get 40. But I'd rather have 25 and give me 10 to 15 assists. Give me my triple double, and I think I have a better impact on the game. So it's not necessarily for me. It's not necessarily a question of is Yoke better. I think Yoke is more focused on, I would say, the team aspect, getting other guys going. Where he doesn't feel you hardly ever see Yoke come down the floor, throwing his hand up, getting frustrated when he's not getting the ball. Typically, that's what you see from the great big men. The great big men, hey, I got position out on the block, feed me. You saw that with Shaq, you saw that with Olajuwon, saw that with Ewing. Every great center, and even guys who don't think they're great centers, they think once they get position down low, your job as a guard, your job as a forward is to feed me because I'm the big man. And then you kind of see that with how Philadelphia team is kind of set up is, once Embiid kind of gets the ball, it's like, okay, guys start moving. It becomes more isolation ball. Like, we're going to let him work. And that caused them problems in the playoffs. And now I don't think Embiid is going to come into the next season and really revamp his game to play more like Yoke. I think Yoke is an anomaly as far as big men are concerned, because in my years of living, and I've lived a pretty long time, long enough to make this statement, I haven't seen any big man, with the possible exception. It's only one big man that I can maybe put in that class, as far as like wanting his presence makes everybody better on the court. Only one big man I can really put into that category, and that would probably be prime Tim Duncan. Just for the simple fact, Duncan didn't need to have the ball to be effective. Now, he wasn't putting up the assist numbers. Was a way better defensive player than Yoke will ever be. But Duncan's game wasn't necessarily predicated on give me the ball, clear out, let me get my shots, and you guys get scraps. Those are the only two centers that I can think of that wasn't, I would say, ball dominant. That was more focused on the teammates being successful and allowing guys to flourish in those roles and be able to carry the load for them. Because Yoke, showed you in game 2, I can get 40, but it doesn't lead to winning basketball. It doesn't lead to winning basketball. If you take a look at his numbers through this postseason, his highest scoring game is typically doesn't lead to wins. And if it is wins, it's much harder. He's more effective when he's able to get other guys going. Hey, Jamal, we're gonna run screen and roll because we got to get you going, because that puts pressure on Miami to adjust how they're guarding us defensively. Aaron Gordon, I need you to, when we doing switches, you got a little man on you. We're gonna feed you, and I need you to be in position to take it right up on him in the paint. So, so to answer the question, is Yoke better than Embiid? Depends on the personnel, but I think Embiid overall has a bigger impact on team success than Yoke has a bigger impact on team success than Embiid. And it's not a slight to Embiid. You know, you're MVP. You deserve to be MVP based on the season that you had. But right now, Jokic is on another level as far as like how he is affecting the game. So, I mean, that's just my hope I answer that person's question that asked me that. Since I see Gator Girl here, she asked me a question also, and I'm gonna kind of get into that game for her soon. But I wanted to answer these comments. She was talking about, is Denver on the, is this the start of a dynasty? And I will say no, just for the simple fact. If you aren't aware, they did a trade with OKC early in the day where they was swapping picks. So Denver, is realizing what a lot of teams in the NBA are about to realize with the new CBA coming. It's going to be harder for teams to really stockpile high price talent like that. Teams are going to start having to make more concrete decisions as far as like how that relates to the luxury tax and the penalties that come with that. Like I said, the new CBA goes into effect next season, and it's in a nutshell, for those who haven't kind of looked at the particulars up, in a nutshell, it's kind of to stop teams like the Golden State Warriors from necessarily being able to not necessarily be built, because that team was heavily drafted, but for them to maintain the number of high, when you think about Golden State, you're looking at, you had to pay Draymond, you had to pay Jordan Poole, you had to pay Andre Wiggins, you had to pay Klay Thompson, you had to pay Steph. I mean, that's just 5 guys, and that's not counting, the other guys that they have on the team. That's a lot of money. But Joe Lacob, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, had no problem with paying the luxury tax because he was getting a return back on his money. He was getting championships. Now, I think Denver is in position, health-wise, to be a force over the next few years in regards to the Western Conference. But I wouldn't go as far as dynasty. Just for the simple fact, it's going to be harder to kind of keep some of those pieces together. That's why teams are going to really start looking at stockpiling talent as far as the draft, looking at guys that can keep doing the draft, maybe taking a page out of the OKC model in regards to kind of keeping salaries down, but still having the ability to kind of move and get talent when need be. But yeah, I think they're going to be in the conversation. As long as Jokic is healthy, and he's playing at an MVP type level, they're always going to be in the conversation. But I don't think anybody that was going into this season had Denver as their finals pick, other than maybe a Nuggets fan. It's just kind of how the season played out. But I want to say dynasty. They look good during this playoff run. They've looked good so far in the finals. And we'll talk about game 4 before we get up out of here. They look good, but I'm not getting the feeling of like overwhelming talent. And yeah, your Kings, yeah, your Kings. I mean, they've got to make some decisions as far as personnel. And I'm thinking a lot of teams. It's going to be a different kind of NBA next year. A lot of teams are going to be having to make decisions, and it's going to be based on numbers, not whether they want to keep a guy or not. Boston is going to find himself in that situation this offseason. Do you pay Jaylen Brown close to $300 million to keep him with Jason Tatum, who you also have to pay over $300 million? That's $600 million allocated to 2 players. And that's not counting the fact that Marcus Smart's getting paid, other guys are getting paid. Teams are going to have to really start making real decisions, because it's like, yeah, you can go into the luxury tax, and then they're not telling you can't, but it's the penalties for going into the luxury tax are way more severe, and teams are going to find out. If you're gonna take that route, you're gonna have to have everybody else on your squad. Yeah, you can have a high price 5, but everybody else on your team is going to be league minimum. It's going to be G League players, or some old vet. And the way that the CBA is kind of set up, vets can't take with so much mid level, low level money. That was kind of worked out. With the Players Association, like veterans, they're gonna make the veteran minimum, but it's more than the league minimum. But like I said, teams are going to have to start making some real hard decisions starting this all season on who stays, who goes. I mean, even Denver, you got to kind of look at your team, your future going forward. Um, Aaron Gordon, are you going to be willing to pay him in the near future? Michael Porter Jr. I mean, can you move on from him? Is Christian Brown the answer to replace Michael Porter Jr.? So teams are going to have to start making cap decisions. But anyway, kind of get into the game for tonight before we get up out of here. Tip off is at 8:30. I think Miami. I would say this: Miami has to come out with a do or die attitude tonight. You can't come out with the attitude like we're going to see how the game goes. Like this is a game 4 with Denver having clear momentum. Even though the series is 2-1, you can tell Denver for the most part has outplayed Miami. Miami has to come out with a sense of desperation tonight. I think Miami has to come out and be ultra aggressive as far as attacking Denver. I would probably say you'd probably be better off playing at a little bit of faster pace to kind of start the game out. You can't allow the game to kind of come to you, because if you allow the game to kind of come to you, Denver showed, hey, we're gonna be ultra aggressive for getting our guys going. Whatever you do, be damn. And Miami typically comes out with a poke and prod type approach. We're kind of seeing what we got. I think you got to come out like gangbusters. You got to come out like, hey man, we lose tonight, we're eliminated. That's the mindset you got to have. So I expect Miami to come out and play at a much faster pace. I think Butler's going to be even more aggressive than he was in Game 3. I expect Caleb Martin to kind of be more aggressive in trying to get his stuff going. Gabe Vincent to be more aggressive in trying to get himself going. You may see a whole lot of pick and roll with Jimmy and Bam. To kind of get Bam going, possibly get Jokic in foul trouble, because he's not the most efficient defensive player. He does a decent enough job of being a body, but you can get him in foul trouble. But I think Miami needs to come out with the mindset of we're going to have to go full force. We're going to have to, we can't allow the game to kind of come to us. Because I think that, you take that approach tonight, Denver, has an opportunity and has a chance and has the skill set of guys to run you out the gym. So by the time you figure out, okay, this is how we're going to try to play tonight, you might be down 10, 15 points. And I think Spoelstra, considering, I don't know what the score would be if it's kind of close at halftime. I think Spoelstra needs to come out with a mindset. What Gagger says, is coaching making a difference anymore? Yeah. I mean, you kind of see it every third quarter. Denver has kind of come out and imposed their presence on Miami. And with the exception of game 2, that fourth quarter, I mean, Denver has outplayed them. Denver has outplayed them, and think about it, they only got out of there by 3 in game 2. Denver has outplayed them. I don't know what coaching adjustment as far as personnel is concerned with Miami, because it's just, like I said, this is a bad matchup. I mean, you try to have Kevin Love out there to kind of draw Jokic away from the rim, but I mean, for me, that's kind of counterproductive. I get the notion of it, but it's not like Jokic is clogging up the lane. He's not Brook Lopez in the paint. He's not, Giannis. He's not Embiid down low as far as like being that big of a defensive presence. I think maybe, you got to run Bam at the 5 and put some shooters out there. I maybe see Duncan Robinson get a lot more burn going into the night, and you got to play at a much faster pace. You may have to just play small. You may have to play small to have a chance to compete with Denver. You have Bam and Kevin Love out there. Kevin Love can still shoot the ball, but he's not a threat. You're not running any offense for Kevin Love. So he's not a threat to Jokic. So Jokic can kind of stay within arm's distance. Doesn't have to be up on Kevin Love. Kevin Love is not the same player he used to be. That's what happens when you get older. But I think coaching is making a difference. But at the end of the day, I think talent is overwhelming. What I've seen so far, talent is overwhelming the coaching. I don't care how many adjustments Spoelstra makes, tweak the lineup, change the pace of the game. Excuse me, I had to get some water. I don't care how much he's doing that. It's just that Denver is too talented. I'm like, this is like the worst matchup for the Heat coming out of the West. I think they would have had a much more competitive series playing a Phoenix or possibly playing a Golden State or whoever would. Denver is just such a bad matchup because because the impact Yoke has on the game. Like I said, he's not your traditional back to the basket, give me the ball, you guys clear out. I'm not looking to pass, I'm looking to score. That's not Yoke's game. And you saw in game 3, I think you counted it up, Gator Girl, 32 pick and rolls with him and Murray. And he's able to not only just pick and roll, he's able to pick and pop because he has a respectable enough 3-point shot where you got to challenge him. I mean, it's a talent thing at this point, man. It's not even a scheme. It's not coaching has played a big role during this playoffs as far as like who's made adjustments, who hasn't made adjustments, and how well those adjustments have been made. Miami, you're just in a bad matchup. And it's not taking away from your run to the NBA Finals. It's been a hell of a run, but Denver is just such a bad matchup, and you just don't have the in my opinion, you just don't have the offensive talent to challenge Denver for a 7-game series. You just don't. And the way that Caleb Martin's been playing, I mean, he's regressed and he's playing like an undrafted player. Kyle Lowry's giving you decent spot minutes. Decent spot minutes, but yeah, it's not even at this point. It's not even about coach. It's just the talent gap, man. The talent gap. I mean, if I was to say name the top 7 players in the series, I mean, we can start with Yoke. Jimmy at 2, Murray at 3, maybe Bam at 4, just based on how they played, and then the last 3 will probably have to be Denver Nuggets players. I mean, the talent gap is just it's too much to overcome. Spoelstra's done a lot with when you really look at their lineup, this is a team that in the West wouldn't have made the playoffs. I mean, let's keep that a buck. If they was in the West, they wouldn't have made the playoffs, wouldn't even been in the play-in. Let's kind of keep that in perspective. You're playing in a I ain't gonna say much weaker, but in a weaker East where you were able to kind of get in to the play-in tournament. But if this same Miami squad was playing in the West, wouldn't have made the play-in tournament. Off top, what's going on with Udonis Haslem? I don't know. I guess it's his last ride. Let that man be him. And he's a very much a part of the Heat culture. I think this is his last ride. So let him kind of ride off into the sunset. That's part of the respect that the Miami Heat get around the league because a lot of the other teams wouldn't have kept a Udonis Haslem on payroll as a player. They may have had him, kind of force him to retire because it wasn't like Udonis Haslem had a market for him on the free agent side. They kept him around as a player. He's more there as a mentor, more there to make sure that the culture stays alive long after he's gone. So kudos to Miami for treating that man with such respect, considering the amount of blood, sweat, and tears he's given to that franchise. Like I said, a lot of other teams would have never signed him for the amount of money they pay players. Would have maybe gave him a consulting deal, or offered him a job on the coaching staff at some sort, like a player liaison or something like that. I mean, and that's kind of the role he feels, but they honored him and kept him on as an active player on the roster. He doesn't get a lot of minutes. That's to be expected at his age. It's been a hell of a ride. So when he's ready to ride off into the sunset, congratulations. to Udonis. That's let that man hair be what his hair is. Let his hair be what his hair is. Like I said, NFL probably be rolling that out because this series likely to be over by this time next week for sure. We'll be doing that. I'm thinking about kind of doing like a countdown, kind of like start from worst, based it on their records and worst to first, kind of take that approach. The videos won't be that long, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Be the visuals, highlights are playing in the background, and I'm kind of narrating and giving my own breakdown of each team. How the script is kind of looking right now as far as that. I want to kind of look at the overview of the team, how the season went last year, how it ended. Look at key additions, key subtractions as far as the roster is concerned, and that it includes coaching staff in some cases. Look at maybe prominent rookies or that they brought in. Prominent. I'm not going to do everything because some teams didn't have any rookies of note. There's no slight to them, but I'll give my predictions for. I'll be doing some college football, especially when the season kind of gets started. I'm on mainly be focused on it'll be football, but mainly with the college football, I just really want to focus on like a major top 25 games each week. Of course, SEC Roll Tide. We'll be getting a lot of coverage in regards to that because let's keep it 1,000. That's still the best conference, top to bottom, in the country. Defending champ Georgia, perennial favorite Alabama, and the list goes on. Texas A&M had a good year last year. I think Florida, sneaky, based on what I've seen in some of the spring games and the personnel that they brought back. Florida could be a sneaky team. LSU's not to be messed with. I'm curious to see what Tennessee looks like after losing the quarterback and a top receiver. Will they fall back down to earth? So I'm really looking forward. I don't need to cover. But I'm gonna cover like top 25 as far as like games of the week, kind of like games of note. I won't be covering like Alabama versus Winston-Salem College. That's not even up for discussion unless it's like a major injury to that. I will be kind of keeping a close eye in regards to college football on Colorado. Shout out to Buffs Nation, Max's channel dedicated to Colorado Buffaloes. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Deion has come in and change things wholesale. I think he's going to have a success a lot faster than a lot of people may think. Because as much as we like to talk about teams like Ohio State, Alabama, Florida, the Georgias, being successful as far as the recruiting classes, I can't name a better salesman to sell, my kid on playing for them than a Deion Sanders. Here you have a guy that that is known by prime. Every kid that's watched football, played football, within the past 30 years know who he is. So I think he's going to do well. He's already off to a good start as far as the recruiting class that he brought in. So yeah, I'll be kind of keeping an eye on him and watching how his team doing. I think in about 2 or 3 years, Colorado could be running Pac-12. Could be running the Pac-12, but we'll see. Like I said, the tip-off is about to start at 8:30. Of course, I will be doing my show in the other realm. I got a couple things to talk about. I ain't gonna be up there all night. We've been talking all week. I've enjoyed, doing this show first and foremost. But yeah, I've been talking all week. This is kind of like my Friday. This is my start to the weekend. For those that are interested, on my other channel, next Sunday, I will be getting together with good brother Hood Conservative, and we'll be talking about politics. I know it's not a sexy topic for a lot of people. You know, I don't really talk about it over here, and don't really talk about it much over there. But it's some things that have come out in regards to, you know, people entering the race, Mike Pence, Cornel West. So I want to sit down with somebody that's, you know, a little bit versed in that area, and we're gonna have a good conversation. So that'll be next Sunday when we be doing that on my other channel. But over here, you know, we're gonna be focused on, you know, the NBA finals until it's over. Then we're gonna be moving headlong into football and loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it. You know, like I said, appreciate all the support, comments, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's very much appreciated. And I told no, man, don't do that show. That was enough pump faking in the fight. Nah, I'm gonna do that. I mean, you know, that's you know, yeah, you familiar with, you know, with my bill show. So I used to like tackle different topics over there. So I'm curious to see you know, what you know, kind of breakdown of Cornel West and what his campaign, you know, what they're running on. I got to look into that before I do the show on Sunday, and kind of look at, you know, the dynamic that's going on, not necessarily just with the Republican Party, and also the Democrat Party, and how media is really kind of help shaping is going to help shape those races. I saw some stuff come out about Fox News, but yeah, we're gonna do that over there next Sunday. So stay tuned for that. Over here, like I said, we're gonna keep it sports, keep it clean, keep it corporate. And I'm about to, you know, get into this game. Hope y'all have a good weekend. Hope y'all have a safe weekend. Hope to see y'all again we'll be back on Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Still don't have an outro, but I'm out.